What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be going over all the position battles that's going on that you need to watch out for during New York Giants training camp. Now, I'm not going to mention every single position battle because pretty much that's how training camp is. Every single position has a battle for who's going to be the starter and things like that. We're going to be talking about the major ones, the ones that you need to be paying attention to that's going to be vital to this team's success or regression next year. So we'll be starting off with the offensive side of the football. As I like to do things, I like to kind of separate things, talk about the offense first, then move on to the defense. So we'll talk about the offense first, and that is the number 3 wide receiver. Now, in past years, it's all been about Odell Beckham and Sterling Shepard, and nobody really cared who was at the back end of the wide receiver core. Now that Odell Beckham is gone, we've got Golden Tate, we've got Sterling Shepard, and we're still looking for that third piece in there. Is it going to be Corey Coleman or Bennie Fowler? Darius Slayton is starting to make his way up to the first team, which he had some reps in late minicamp and OTAs, but as of right now, it's Bennie Fowler and Corey Coleman. Darius Slayton still has some more to prove, and people don't even talk about Bennie Fowler like he hasn't been lighting up minicamp and OTAs. He's been killing it in OTAs and minicamp. Him and Corey Coleman, every single time you heard one of their names, you heard the other as well. So you can tell they were in good competition there. As far as Corey Coleman and Bennie Fowler goes, and Darius Slayton, because we can't forget about him, I think at the end of the day, Corey Coleman is going to get that number 3 spot, and I don't know why, but I feel like Darius Slayton is going to catch up and get ahead of Bennie Fowler. But I think Bennie Fowler is still going to be used in the offense just because he's a bigger target. He's probably the biggest target we have, that with the most talent, as well as we're still waiting to see what we get from Reggie White Jr. if he does, you know, show up in any kind of fashion, if he does make the 53-man roster. But as of right now, Bennie Fowler is our biggest target at the wide receiver position, and as you guys know, we've been looking for a big target for such a long time. I'm still waiting for a huge red zone target for the Giants to come from the wide receiver position. Bennie Fowler may be that guy. He's shown some flashes last season, and he's really stepping up to the plate this season in minicamp and OTAs, but we'll see what happens in training camp. But how I think it's going to shape up right now is Corey Coleman, then Darius Slayton, then Bennie Fowler at the end of the day. But as of right now, it's Corey Coleman and Bennie Fowler competing there. But yeah, it's going to be a pretty decent wide receiver core all around. I mean, you're talking about our 4th best wide receiver being Bennie Fowler. So how can you get any better than that right now for the Giants? I mean, we've done pretty good of a job. And then Reggie White Jr., if he makes this roster, he could be the 5th wide receiver on the roster, and he'll be a pretty damn good one too. The undrafted rookie out of Monmouth. Also, we can't forget about Cody Latimer as well. I don't know why I forgot about Cody Latimer, but Cody Latimer as well. I think he's standing at 6'2", something like that. Listen, he has some consistency issues as well as injury issues. I think he will, at the end of the day, find his way off the roster. As you guys know, Bennie Fowler was an undrafted rookie coming in Denver, and Cody Latimer was a 2nd-round pick from Denver, but Bennie Fowler has had the better career. A lot of people are thinking that Cody Latimer is the better receiver. That is not the truest at all. Bennie Fowler just completely dominates Cody Latimer in his career so far, as far as receptions and yards and touchdowns goes. Bennie Fowler is the guy, not Cody Latimer. You guys got to watch the stats. But that being said, let's move on to the next position battle. Next up, we've got the right tackle position. Now, as you guys know, we drafted George ASAFO ADEJEI. I just call him, you know, Big George or George AA, whatever you guys want to call him. We drafted him out of, I believe, Kentucky this draft in the 7th round. We also picked up Mike Remmers, who we signed in free agency, who a lot of people, I don't know why a lot of people are hating this move. This move is what needed to happen. As you guys know, we didn't have too much cap to work with last season. You know, it is what it is. I know a lot of people didn't want Eli on for next season to throw $22 million at him, but it is what it is. We have a new right tackle, Mike Remmers. I don't understand why people are hating this move. It's much better, a much better improvement from Chad Wheeler. I don't know why people think they would rather have Chad Wheeler there than Mike Remmers, and we're barely paying Mike Remmers anything. Low risk, high reward. So with Mike Remmers there at the right tackle position. Now, Chad Wheeler did come out and say that he's not just going to give up immediately. He's still going to fight for the position, fight for the right to be the right tackle for the New York Giants. As you guys know, Mike Remmers is having some injury issues. He is not back at 100% just yet. He missed all of minicamp and OTAs because of injury issues, and so we don't know what timetable he's going to be coming back, but we do know he will be back by the start of the season. Don't know if he's going to be back for today for training camp, the beginning of training camp. But yeah, we'll see what happens. As far as George AA goes, I think he's going to take a swing tackle type role here. He's going to start out at right tackle. You know, maybe if the left tackle gets hurt, you know, he'll switch to left tackle. I don't know if Chad Wheeler is going to be in this, because what I see from film, George AA or Big George is a really good player, and in my opinion, I would have a 5th round grade on him. I think he was draftable in the mid rounds, but I'm pretty surprised that he went to the late rounds. I'm actually excited to see what we get from Big George. He's actually a pretty decent player, and he has a fair shot to start one day. I don't think Mike Remmers is going to spend too much time with the Giants. I believe he signed a 1-year deal, correct me if I'm wrong, but even so, whenever that contract is over, I don't think Mike Remmers is going to remain a Giant, so we'll see what we get from Big George. But as far as that goes, at right tackle goes, the competition there, I think Mike Remmers is going to have that position set in stone for him when he gets healthy, when the season starts. Let's talk about the quarterbacks for a second. Now, I don't want to, you know, indulge in this topic too much, because I think it's pretty, not going to say ridiculous, but it's kind of silly to think about. I mean, listen, Daniel Jones is not going to start this season day 1 for the Giants. Now, I made a prediction that by week 8, anytime besides that, I think we will see some Daniel Jones at some point in time, and I think he will actually start more than one game. I'm going to set that in stone right there. I think Daniel Jones will start more than one game, but it will not be day 1 or anything from day 1 to day 8, barring any injury from Eli Manning. I think Eli Manning is the guy they believe. Listen, they had in their mind already that they wanted Daniel Jones before the draft, when they kept Eli and didn't restructure his contract and everything like that. They would not make the moves they did in not restructuring Eli Manning's contract. And listen, I know people are saying, I know one Giant Rebuttal mentioned this, saying that, you know, what's $7 million? $7 million is a lot. We could have signed a lot more players. We could have signed one more big free agent instead of signing other smaller free agents. We could have signed one more big free agent with restructuring Eli Manning's contract to, what, $15 million or so like that. That's how the New England Patriots do it. That's how they get their free agents. Tom Brady gets paid, you know, not even close to where he should be getting paid. And so that's what you do when you restructure a quarterback's contract. So, you know, the fact that they went with his full contract, full guaranteed money, his full signing bonus, his full game checks and everything like that, full money, tells me that they intend for him to be the day 1 starter. Now, Daniel Jones would have to play like Baker Mayfield now, you know, in his rookie season for him to actually come in and be the starter day 1, which I don't think is going to happen, obviously. So, the position battle, I'm just going to say it's not even a position battle. It's Eli Manning at quarterback. Even though I think Daniel Jones is playing better right now, Eli Manning's still going to be at quarterback. I'm just going to leave it at that. We're going to be talking about a lot on the defense, okay? So get ready for this. First, we're going to start off with the edge rusher. Now, there's a lot to talk about with the edge rushers. As you guys know, Lorenzo Carter has been moved, I believe, to the strong side position in starting for. So the starters right now are Marcus Golden and Lorenzo Carter. So Lorenzo Carter is going to be at the Sam, which I don't really trust OurLads.com, because they're not, I think they're pretty much guessing where these players are going to be at, because they still have Jake Carlock as a safety, and he's not a safety, he's playing edge right now. So I don't really know. We have to wait till the actual Giants depth chart comes out, but I would say Lorenzo Carter is more of a weak side linebacker, just because he could drop in coverage, and he's a more lanky he's a more lanky edge rusher. He's not gonna that big, strong edge rusher to get in the way and stop the run. You know, people say that strong side linebacker doesn't mean you're strong, but it kind of does in a way. You really don't want your smaller, lankier linebackers in that strong side position, because they're not going to be able to hold, you know, an extra tight end or extra offensive lineman and things like that, and a fullback, you know, things like that. So as far as Lorenzo Carter goes, I think he's more of a weak side guy, but it says he's a strong here, but I'm going to say he's a weak. So Lorenzo Carter and Marcus Golden, I believe right now, are going to be starting. OSHANE XIMINES has the backup role. But here's the thing here. We have a lot of competition, right? We have a lot of competition. We just drafted OSHANE XIMINES. We still have Kareem Martin there, and then Lorenzo Carter and Marcus Golden. Now, at the end of the day, I think our best edge rushers are going to be Marcus Golden and Lorenzo Carter. I think OSHANE XIMINES will show some flashes, but I think he's going to have a relatively similar season to what Lorenzo Carter had last year, where he's going to be coming in as a rotational guy. He's going to show a lot of flashes where a lot of people are going to get excited about him moving on in the future. I think OSHANE XIMINES will get anywhere to like 5 to 6 sacks, I would say. I think he would have a little bit better of a season than Lorenzo Carter will have, just because I think they will realize that they need to get a better pass rush rotation in now that we don't have a big star in like Olivier Vernon or Jason Pierre-Paul there. You know, we have more, you know, regular talent. We don't have any stars there, so it's going to allow more rotation for OSHANE XIMINES to come in and play, and he's going to show his potential there. But I think at the end of the day, Marcus Golden and Lorenzo Carter will be our main two guys. I'm pretty excited about those two guys on the edge. I really am. I think Marcus Golden will be a good strong side linebacker. I think Lorenzo Carter will be a good weak side linebacker. And with Lorenzo Carter having the ability to drop back in coverage, I think this is the best position for him and the best scheme fit for him. I'm really excited what he's going to show on the field. OSHANE XIMINES as well. So now the inside linebackers. Nobody's talking about the inside linebackers, right? Alec Ogletree and BJ Goodson, their jobs are not safe. Well, I think Alec Ogletree's job is safe just because of his contract and the statistics he put up last year, even though we all know he didn't play too well last year, but statistics wise, you know, his agent could just throw that on the table right there. So he has a big contract, so I think his job is pretty safe. But BJ Goodson, who was a former 4th round pick for us a couple years ago, struggles to stay healthy, but when he plays pretty decently. He doesn't blow you away. He's not another Luke Kuechly or anything like that, but he doesn't do anything too wrong. But the thing is, he's not in the right scheme fit. Now, BJ Goodson, to me, is more so of a 4-3 inside linebacker, you know, a big run stuffer, and able to, you know, blow up the gaps and things like that. So we drafted him when we did have a 4-3 scheme. We move on to this 3-4 scheme, and it's just not... I don't think it's a good scheme fit for him. So another person that's going to come in here is Ryan Connelly. Now, I think Ryan Connelly is more so, again, a 4-3 inside linebacker, but I think he has more of a mobility towards him. I think he can rush the gap a lot better. Pro Football Focus grades him very well to their grades, and I think Ryan Connelly is going to wind up being the starting inside linebacker, and that may be a bold prediction there, may not be, but I don't think BJ Goodson has the talent to really overwhelm the amount of availability he has, because he gets injured so many times. It's not like he's John Beeson, where John Beeson was a complete beast on the field in his short time with us, even with Carolina. He was a beast on the field, just struggled to stay healthy. That's why he was always slated as the starter coming in, because he was so good. They had to throw him in there when he was healthy. BJ Goodson doesn't have that talent yet where you could say where, you know, he's going to be the starter whenever he comes back. It's not going to happen for BJ Goodson. So, in my opinion, Ryan Connelly is the starting inside linebacker when the 53-man roster is set in stone. He hasn't been making too much noise in minicamp, but when he has been making noise, he has been making noise in quite a way, where he was able to rush the gaps and interrupt passes and, you know, be there where he needs to be. So I'm excited about Ryan Connelly, and I also think Josiah TAUAEFA is going to make some noise as being a depth inside linebacker as well. Let's not forget about Tay Davis. I don't think anybody's taking that spot away from Tay Davis. He is the most athletic inside linebacker that we have. I think the only person giving him a run for his money is Josiah TAUAEFA, and I don't think he will have the amount of production and experience to really beat out Tay Davis. I think Tay Davis has been doing well at that inside linebacker position, at the nickel inside linebacker position, nickelbacker position. So he'll be fine in his role there. Now let's move on to the big position everybody's talking about. Let's move on to the big position, and that is the cornerbacks. Now, Janoris Jenkins' position is set in stone right now as being the #1 cornerback, but I have a bold prediction for you guys, and I said this in my cornerback preview. If you guys want to check that out, I'll leave the card up above. But in the cornerback preview, I talked about DeAndre Baker possibly being the best cornerback by the end of the season, and I'm going to stand by that. I'm going to say that DeAndre Baker, by the end of the season, don't know when it's going to happen, towards the middle, towards the end, maybe even the beginning, DeAndre Baker will be lining up against the #1 wide receivers. Why do I think that? His college resume is absolutely phenomenal. Now, do I think he was the best cornerback on the board when he was taken? No, I don't think he was the best cornerback in the draft. But his resume shows absolutely no touchdowns allowed in 2 years. He's locked down. He can adjust to any system, whether you're a defensive coordinator that loves zone, or a defensive coordinator that loves man, or a defensive coordinator that loves press. He can do it all. He adjusts to everything. He's the most balanced cornerback in this year's draft. That's something I give him credit for. He was the most balanced in this year's draft. I think his versatility is going to allow him to play any receiver he wants to. Now, the biggest threat to him is the faster wide receivers. Now, Janoris Jenkins isn't a blazer either. So, in that aspect, I think DeAndre Baker will still get the nod as being the #1 cornerback towards the end of the season. Don't know when it's going to happen, but I think it's going to happen. And then you have at the nickel spot. Now, listen, I'm extremely excited about the nickel spot. More so than the outside cornerbacks, right? Sam Beal, I'll mention Sam Beal for a second. I think he was supposed to be the #2 cornerback. DeAndre Baker came in, lit it up so far in practice, and Sam Beal will be the 3rd cornerback on the roster. Now, it doesn't mean everybody needs to stop playing Madden. It doesn't mean he's a slot cornerback, okay? Sam Beal being the #3 cornerback does not mean he's a slot cornerback. Stop playing Madden. Stop talking to me about this Madden stuff, okay? Being the #3 corner means you could also be on the outside. He's an outside corner. He's not a slot corner. Now we move to the slot corners, which nowadays is its own position. Slot corners don't really play outside as much as they used to. Julian Love will be slated as a slot corner. Now, he didn't play too much slot corner in Notre Dame, but I think that's his best position going into the NFL. And right now, he's behind Grant Haley, who Grant Haley's been doing a phenomenal job as slot corner. Hasn't allowed too many catches, hasn't allowed touchdown in minicamp and OTAs. So that being said, Grant Haley, I think by the end of preseason, things like that, when we get to see what Julian Love can do in a full game, I think then we'll see Julian Love as the starting nickel cornerback, and Grant Haley will be a damn good dime cornerback. I can't wait to see those 4 guys there. When you have whether that be Sam Beal or DeAndre Baker, I think they're going to rotate, of course. But when you have guys like Janoris Jenkins, DeAndre Baker, Julian Love, and Grant Haley out there, those 4 cornerbacks there, the 2 slots and the 2 outsides, it's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to see that. This is the best cornerback core we've had in such a long time. Ever since we had Janoris Jenkins and Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie there with Leon Hall and Eli Apple. That was a pretty good core there, but this has the potential to be even better. And safeties, there's not really a big competition as a lot of people think there is at safety. Jabril Peppers and Antoine Bethea, nobody's challenging them for the starting spot, so it's not really a competition there. So that being said, that is all the positions you need to watch out for in training camp and preseason. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who are you excited for that I probably didn't mention, or who are you excited for that I did mention? Doesn't matter. Leave it in the comments. If you're new to the channel, subscribe if you're new. I post Giants content and NFL content. Giants content exclusively, as you guys can see back there. So all that being said, leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.